I apologise that this is a bit late, but here is my video about the changes that were made on the 29th of March. Let's start with the map changes. Dust2 had a one-way wallbang from CT spawn up to cat removed. Before, you were able to do this, and now you can't. The other two patch notes are a little vague. Fixed some minor bugs, could be anything. I'm guessing little adjustments that Valve makes from Reddit posts and stuff, but that aren't big enough to justify updating the map for until more major changes are also done. But out of curiosity, I screenshotted, or should that be screenshot, lots of places from across the map, both with and without clipping visible, to see what these minor bugs could be, and I can confirm, they're minor. No clipping has been changed, and other than a few tiny places where the shading is a little bit different for whatever reason, the only changes that I could see were to a tree and to a streetlight model. The old ones now appear entirely black, which obviously wasn't the case before because we'd have noticed, so I assume that these models have been changed in some way. When editing the maps, I also noticed that, for the lights at least, the minimum CPU level has been dropped from high down to low. Exciting. So I guess from this we can safely say that not a lot has changed. The final patch note for Dust2 was fix for MIP bias exploit. I don't know what this bug specifically is, but MIP map bias is to do with how textures are replaced with blurrier, lower quality versions, as you can see from this Witcher 3 comparison between two different MIP map settings. But MIP bias? According to Wikipedia, MIP just means much in little, which doesn't mean much. Maybe it's to do with the streetlight settings. Yeah, I'll go with that and just move on to something else, because frankly, we're making a mountain out of a molehill here. A MIP, if you will. Moving on to Canals, which has received some changes which I suspect just tidy up a few issues that arose from the recent big update that the map received. They opened up the B lobby to stairs, as you can see here. I didn't even notice all the changes at first, but it's quite drastic. The room now has 3D arches, and removing the wall next to the stairs means that you can now see all the way from outside up to the room before the bomb site. Not that you can do a lot with that. Also, shifting these stairs a bit and moving the window up a notch now means that the window models either side no longer match up, further compounding this map's already suspect architecture. They simplified the geometry around B site for better movement, which I guess means making the room before B a simpler box shape and by stretching out the arch to make the entrance to the site wider. It's nice that they also added a previously missing trim from the base of the wall. I'm sorry for not noticing this glaring issue sooner, but I will say that the new version has an off-colour trim on the other side of the room now. We all really care about this, don't we? They blocked invisible area at A. This isn't cryptic. This literally refers to the part of the map with invisible spray painted, or is it spray panned, along the wall. This will make it easier for people in the already OP ramp area to clear the site one place at a time. They also changed the cover here from some oddly shaped plants to a much simpler and lower dumpster model. I feel this was a big enough change to be covered in the patch notes, but no, you heard it here first. And lastly, they fixed several pixel walk exploits where you could walk along the side of walls somewhere, and minor bugs. I saved myself a lot of time by not bothering to investigate these, since it's not like they're a problem anymore anyway. I did, however, notice that they changed this window model. And lastly, Nuke. It has had the squeaky door moved back a bit. As an attacking terrorist, I like this change since it means that I can get through the door with a bit more cover from surrounding scenery. Valve describes the change as clearer view towards hut, perhaps toward enemies stood on the top of it. Maybe. The geometry near crane has also changed. Before there was a strange sticky outy bit where you could pretend you were in jail, but now you're able to drop straight down off the edge if you do so wish. T-Spawn's roof has had a few changes to the clipping to smooth out movement. There are two parts to this. Slopes have been added to the edges so your view doesn't pop up as you go over them. And the piping has had its clipping removed so your feet now pass straight through them. But, oh Valve, you forgot to get rid of the corner bits. Your view will still jolt as you go over these. Please fix. A few crates have changed colours. This affects the newish boxes on B site and this big one outside. Not a lot to talk about with these. Guess somebody on the mapping team just had a change of mind. And lastly, some of the boxes have been removed at the back of Squeaky, leaving more cover for terrorists to utilise. Here is how it looks in the position, and what the enemy can see if somebody stood there. But these map changes aren't the only updates. Hidden away at the bottom of the miscellaneous changes is one that's caused quite some commotion. Since I'm a little late to the party, I've had the benefit of seeing the backlash from the community. about how this will end trading and will decimate the value of skins. I've also seen how this hasn't happened. Yet. The new 7-day delay will impact people who receive and sell items quickly, most notably gambling, skin and money laundering sites, as well as anybody who profits off of them. I won't be shedding a tear for those people. Plus it's not like it stops these things, it simply slows it down. A skin is to be an investment, not something to day trade with gay abandon. That being said, there will be cases where innocent people will be inconvenienced. If you want to borrow a skin from a friend for whatever reason, it'll now take 7 days before you can give them it back again. And if you desperately need emergency cash for your dad's bone repair, then it might also be a problem. But these aren't ordinary circumstances, and Valve notes in their blog post that they'll continue evaluating trade policies, presumably to minimise the disruption to innocents, whilst making life increasingly difficult for those who abuse the system. While pro player JW thinks it's ridiculous a trade ban update has been added while his vague hit reg problem persists, I like that Valve addresses a number of different parts of the game in an update like this. There are map changes for the people playing the game. That includes you, JW. There are miscellaneous updates to improve the game's audio and to troll skin sites. And this time there's even some love given to mappers. Finally, after all these years, you can change the scale of props. Want a smaller pillar? Sure. Want props for a rat's game mode? Yeah. Want a bigger tree? No, but you can still have it if you want to. Let's make it smaller. Much better.